Okay, so here we are ready to start Stellar Horizons 2. I'm going to play the first scenario, Footfall Among the Stars, as a solo scenario. I'm going to take the Starfarers faction, and we're going to take a look at what the scenario specifies. It's time to expand into the cosmos and feel the warmth of another sun. Establish your legacy by planting your flag in the soil of a world out there among the stars. Great! I don't mind such intros, but whatever. Sectors use Sol, which are these. These are each, their own solid pieces. And, the map is put together like the map in the original Stellar Horizons in a fixed fashion. It's not like you randomize to see where people go or whatever. The systems are all kind of based on some sort of what knowledge we have of those systems fitted to the game framework. Starting tech and year, 2150, level 1. Level 1 means... Oops. I'm just looking. Yeah, these are tech types. Okay. Or trade types. So I will have a flag in every one of these. And the flags aren't used for anything other than tech. So there are enough flags to cover the leading edges the way I want to do it, as opposed to the way the game kind of implies, which is kind of funky. Okay, so that's our first. We need another flag for initiative. And, each of these, this has a third row, this has a third row. So I would need 2 more flags, and I have additional ones if there's something I want to do with them, like indicate alliances or whatever. So there's plenty of those markers to cover things. You don't have to have one on each location in there. Okay, so that's the tech, 2150. I had already set that up, but my bag that I'm not going to use doesn't deal with that. Time to play is -1 hours. The exploration markers, I already had them set up. It says not to play with the consortium because they start off with, I guess, ships with higher cargo capacity. Each player starts with $30 billion. Great, there it is. And 1 random tech marker of each type. Okay, we'll grab some tech. This one I need to stir a little more because I was looking in it and could see stuff. Okay. Now, in terms of tech costs, you can see we're looking at much higher amounts. 10 is the lowest anywhere. 5 is the least you can possibly pay for a tech. That's if other people have found it already. In a 1-player game, we're not going to have that. Okay, we have additional rules here. Each even-numbered decade, which will be the second turn, 2160, players draw 10 billion at the start of their turn, and players with the tech terraforming can terraform once at the end of the turn in a system where they have a base. Again, that once is kind of weird. I still don't know if it's once per game or once per turn. And the terraforming rules did not help with that. We read those. The first player to have 10 or more settlements in a system with a max printed population of at least 25 wins. Max population is going to be based on the planets that we find. If multiple players do this, they tie. If no one does this by 2300, no one wins. Solo, just manage it by the 2300. So I have 150 years, essentially, to spread out. Okay, gosh, That should be enough to get the game going, right? Well, I don't know. Because they come out with, this is just the player aid on these two sheets. Here is information, some of that. We have for each scenario one of these things. Some introduction here. First set up the century and decade. Players roll for initiative, add their faction markers to the tech chart. Higher roll equals better, lower initiative number. Okay. Also on each, again, wow. Really, really sparse way of explaining this. Like, again, feels like notes more than a polished rule book. Players roll for initiative, add their faction markers, right? Also on the tech chart, players add a faction marker to each tech in the first column. This is the stuff that, like, yeah, it's kind of implied, but I'm not so sure. Make a pool of the world tiles mixed together and 3 bowls of tech markers. I've done this. This is stuff that should be explained in the rule book. And it's why I think that this additional set of pages was added, was that they handed out a late playtest version and people were like, what the fuck, to maybe people who hadn't played a lot of the original Stellar Horizons. Be careful not to mix up tech markers, yeah, and exploration markers. These guys, yeah. Helpful. Now let's set up the map, and it actually shows us a slice to see how the two things go together. Again, the only place you would have gotten this is by deciphering this and seeing that it has to be set up in that smaller section. And that would be the full map for the game. Again, you know, I want to catch this as the scenario just because I'm showing you what kind of pitfalls you would have opening this box up if you didn't, like, find other resources. Well, luckily there's this, right? But if this wasn't present and it's just kind of like this weird add-on, for example, add a biology to Alpha Centauri and a physics to Sirius. Each player collects 30 billion in cash and 10 at the start of every even-numbered decade. Each player chooses a faction and takes their ships, which they will be able to build. That's it. Okay. Yeah, well, it doesn't tell me which ships I'll be able to build. And that is probably here on engineering, which says I can build CV3 crew vehicles with this tech. If I didn't have that tech, I'd be able to build CV2s. I'm going to fish out the ships. I'll be back. Fish and ships. So here are the ships that I have that are actually available. All the REs, apparently. And they're different. This one has an exploration value of 2. It costs $4. There's a couple copies of it. This one has an exploration of 3. It costs $1 more. This one has an exploration value of 1 and costs $1 less. Okay. With the crewed vessels, I have these cheaper exploration ships, which are different, right? This one's just a pure exploration with some military capability if I need it, and it costs 7 to buy. Whereas this one has cargo capacity, it also costs 7, but doesn't have military capacity. So if I run into an anomaly, and then I say, wow, what's up with anomalies? They're blue. They're not in this scenario. So I don't need military capacity at all for this scenario in the solo game. So this becomes kind of an uninteresting ship, but it has a high exploration and it has the science bonus, so it might be a cool idea. Now, this one has all kinds of stuff on it. It has an exploration, a cargo, and a military. It also has a little tire or a cog or whatever there. I don't know what that means. So let's look in here and see what a cog means. Here it says research ship, mining ship. Okay, so not all ships can mine. You need the cog there to be able to mine. All right. What would I do if I was just going forward? Note that there's a lot going on here, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Well, I follow this. Economic phase. There is no economic phase here, and in fact, the initiative is fixed throughout the game for this scenario according to the scenario rules, so that's fine. The first thing I would do is reduce transfer markers. There's no ships flying, so I can't do that. Now I get to build ships. And this is kind of a, okay, what am I trying to do? Well, this scenario gives you a jump start into that with some decent playthrough information. We select the Starfarers and use our 30 billion to buy the following ships. Let's do what they do. Copernicus, 3 billion. Ooh, I don't know if I want that. It's a shitty exploration. I don't know. We'll keep thinking. Kuiper, 4 billion. That's this one. I like this one. Unfortunately, they have it wrong. Oh, no. That was Kepler. Kuiper. Again, I'm not really thrilled about it. I think I'd rather buy this one for 5, which they are buying. They say Kepler and Messier. Okay, so now I'm at 13 billion. Let's keep looking. And Orion for 7. Sounds like a good idea. It has the high science. It seems like a good choice. So now I'm at 20 billion. I have 10 billion more. They say buy this too. Sure, we'll do it. And we exchange our cash money for $7, which I need hands to separate. Built all these ships. They're on Sol. If we were playing this, it only holds 4 players for this scenario. If we were playing this with other people, there would be 4 more people buying ships at this point. And I think this can be done simultaneous. But now it says reverse initiative order. So, yeah. You get to see what other people pick first. Okay, that's it. Now, there's planning involved in this. For example, they say we could also build the Andromeda for 7, but we'll save that for next turn when we can also afford to buy settlements. Andromeda has a capacity to carry stuff. Okay. Next turn we get 10 more bucks. That'll give us the 2 settlements. Makes sense. You don't pay for your ships that are on the board, and there's no real reason not to build it, but this is a reasonable strategy for this player. We place the purchase ships there. There are no ships on the board, so we can't perform step 2, right? Now we just need to decide to move. One of the tricks of the scenario is you have to identify a system that can hold a population of at least 25, so the first step should be finding such a system. The most likely candidate is Alpha Centauri because it can hold 3 worlds and can be settled now with the tech Interstellar Settlement. Let's take a look at what's up with that. Interstellar Settlement, I can only settle systems with 80% habitability or more. And here it says initially none. Don't know what, oh, initially you can't settle anything. Because like, here they'll like say things like initial equal 1 instead of 2. Fair enough. But Lumen 16 might be a good fallback. It's got 2. It's only got a 60% habitability. We got really shitty habitabilities for the most part. Gliese doesn't look bad. But, okay. Only 1 additional tech is needed. Improved interstellar settlement. Alpha Centauri will yield biology tech, which will be useful at upgrading to the improved settlement. And Lumen 16 gives physics. I don't know what physics gives us. Increases range. Oh, RE range is unlimited. I didn't realize it went to that. But they don't get a movement mod. Oh no, they do get a movement modifier. Okay. Okay, so that's going to be speed and range. Great. All right. There is a choice to be made if any ships should be sent to Barnard's Star, which is close by, has a low habitability and engineering capability. On the positive side, if we could get enough engineering tech to buy orbital shipyards, we could build bigger, the CV-4 Stargazer, which holds up to 3 cargo. You have to be aware of what your ships are. This is very much like the original Stellar Horizons, where it's like, wow, my pool of ships for each faction is different, and I want to, take advantage of whatever bonuses my ships might have, and, maybe not work so hard towards things where I'm more weak. But each faction has its own philosophy and its own shipping, even if you're not using all of this shit. Also, exploring Barnard's would give us another chance to find a system with 25 population, but the low habitability, we'd have to go up to advanced interstellar settlement all the way up here, which would cost us 20 tech, but not really. It would cost us 10. Oh yeah, 20. Yeah. There are no more arrows going in, so there's no other prerequisites. Okay, that makes sense. On the negative side, orbital shipyards is pretty expensive at 20 tech points, and going to Barnard's diverts effort from Alpha Centauri and Lumen. Let's send Orion and Kepler to Alpha Centauri, and Kuiper and Messier to Lumen, and Copernicus to Barnard's Star. Okay? Let's do that. Let's look at the sequence of play. We would be doing combat. There isn't any in this scenario. Cargo transfer and trade, none. Now it's movement. Okay. So they're suggesting, and we'll do this on our own rather than reading through and following. Let's send Orion and Kepler to Alpha Centauri. Okay. Let's find Orion and Kepler. If we want to send them to Alpha Centauri, the distance is 1. We don't worry about this. The distance is just 1. Let's follow the procedure. Count the number of spaces and multiply by your movement modifier for ship type. My movement modifier for RE is times 2, and for the fusion rockets on the CV, it's times 4. Which means I would get, what were we going to do? We were going to send the Kepler. That's going to have a number of 2 on it, going to Alpha Centauri. This is kind of painful because it looks like they're ships places, but they're in the midst of movement. I kind of liked the tracks in the original Stellar Horizons better because each planet had more space than these do, and so that you could put the ship on a track and it would move its way down instead of these counters. Now the Orion, what did we say that had? That has a movement modifier of 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Oh, but these guys don't have this, but this does. It has a little blue flame, so that actually reduces it to the next level because I don't have cargo on board, which means the modifier is actually 3. So I will get there on in 3 turns. Okay. And this isn't going to be too painful with 1 player and a few ships in a little area, But you can see where this mechanism is going to get more painful as you spread out over the whole map. And again, there was the way the solar system's laid out, where it's basically linear, right? 1 planet, 2 planet, 3 planet, it just was basically a line of planetary sections, hexes for each one planet, sorry, 1 hex for each planet, or each body, meant that I could just trace my way down and move ships down through all of them. Here, I'm going to have to figure out some kind of way to cope with that. Okay, so what was the next choice they had here? Kuiper and Messier to Lumen 16. Let's take a look at these. Kuiper and Messier to Lumen. Lumen is also just 1 away. All of these are going to be 1 away. These are both REs, so they will both get a 2 on them. Does it make sense that I'm sending multiple ships to a single area? That's something you don't really do in the other stellar horizons. The first one, I don't know. It may improve my chances, and I have shit tons of money for the amount of ships that I'm able to build. And then the final one was going to Barnard's, and again, this is just another one of these little guys, so it will head there with a distance of 2. They have some discussion here. Wise here, which is also close, can't receive M or ocean worlds. Why not? Is that this? I don't know. We look here, we don't see it under bases, but we look here, we don't see it here. We don't know where they came up with that symbol. Like, we don't know what that symbol means. We've got it here. We've got this, which looks like no apes or no birds or something. I don't know. Is it in the rules somewhere? Yeah. Some systems can't start with M's or O's. Okay. So, that's what they're talking about here. It's probably not a great place for a settlement, although sending an explorer there could lead to some physics tech. With these moves, we place the ships at their destinations, and we put them here. The REs take 2 turns. The CVs would normally take 4, but Orion is a fast ship, so it's 3. We did that right, while not carrying cargo, which it can't do anyway because it doesn't have a cargo space. So why does it have a flame? Yeah, because your technology determines your speed, not the counter. Okay. There's no exploration this turn because no ships have arrived yet and no tech can be developed. All right, we're going to pause because I'm almost out of battery and I feel exhausted, following this sort of playthrough. We're going to be drawing our own planets and not getting the same results that show up here, but you can see they're not doing a hell of a lot on these. 2160, we're going to build that Andromeda. All right, let's do this. Let me swap batteries. We're entering the 2160. The first thing we do is the economic phase, which in this game is we get $10 on even turns. So, there we go. Now I have $17. This is important. Next, we reduce the transfer markers on all ships in sequence. And again, this is going to be kind of a pain in the ass. So this one goes from, I also don't like these kind of markers. But you're going to be manipulating them so much that you want to. Still nothing's arrived, so I'm not going to be doing any exploration or anything a little later. Step 3, we build and repair ships. We're going to build the Andromeda, which costs 7. That's what we have left. And we're going to also spend 10 bucks because settlements cost 5 each for all factions in this, to buy ourselves 2 points of settlements. That's going to be on board the Andromeda. It has 2 cargo, so it can hold it. There's my 10 bucks. And this is why I did that. And now what they say is, load them on the Andromeda's cargo bays. Although we haven't identified a system that's suitable, we're going to go to Alpha Centauri for now and redirect as needed. So we go to Alpha Centauri. Whether this is fast or not doesn't really matter. It's going to get a 4 marker on here. And we follow through. Still no exploration. We don't have enough tech to develop techs. Buying cards is not in this scenario. So we will shift to 2170. I'm going to put a die up here because now I am indeed going to break. 2170 is going to be interesting because we start getting to do some exploration there. Okay, let's do another one of these. We're in 2170, still on script, but randomness is going to screw with that. Reduce transfer markers. Okay. The ones arrive. These always confuse me because I want the top to be the thing that I'm paying attention to. Okay, the ones all arrive, and then these shift down to 1. Is this right? This feels wrong. This is the one with the... So I sent this out, still at the same speed, so it should have been a movement of 4 last turn, so it should drop down to a 3. I had it wrong. I don't know why or something. Probably me reading the little counters wrong. These 4 numbers on one counter facing is just not good for me. Okay. Orion still has 1 turn to go. Yeah, and this one should be at 3. All right. Build and repair ships. I'm out of money, so that's not going to happen. Cargo transfer and trade. None of that can happen here. Movement. I don't want to send my ships out anywhere. They went places to try to find stuff. So we hit the exploration section. And here we can explore, resolve an anomaly or event, mine research, or terraform. Well, right now we're going to be exploring. So let's figure this one out. The value of the exploration marker is a 5. The exploration value of the ship brings it to a 6. I have no cards or tech, do I? I don't know. I might. Malfunction rate of 26%. Current RE range is 2. I'm within 1 of Sol, so I'm okay with everything. Just making sure I have things. Okay. So there's nothing exciting there. So, what was I at? I was at 6. Cards are tech. No, 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 no. Systems exploration bonus. That's a +2. So now I'm at 6, 7, 8. Which means I roll a single die. And at the same time, I should be rolling these. I'm going to hold off on doing that for now. I get a 2. A 2 is successful. which means I gain a tech marker, an engineering marker. And that goes on top of the ship. Okay. And before I go to the surveys, I have to check the malfunction. This is an RE, I think it was 26. These are always weird to me to read. So this is, I guess, 40, so this is 60, and not 09. So 66, we don't hit the issue. Now we check surveys. I'm one player. It only takes 2 to successfully survey this. So again, the bottom of the counter is what counts on these. I'm actually got used to these in a couple of games. Summer Storm, I think, had them. Got that somewhere down here. A Gettysburg game. I don't know. There it is. And Wellington's Victory used them, I think. Maybe not. Wellington's Victory did not. The Line of Battle does, but that wasn't really on my mind. Out of the counters that use these kind of numerical things, usually I think they do face this way. But it confuses me. I don't know. I'm just always bad with them. All right, so we successfully explored. Since we completed a survey, we get a world. It doesn't matter which of those 2 spaces we choose for it. We get it on the level 1. It's an ocean world. Is that allowed? Yes, it is. Can we survive on that? That can hold 22 base value, right? We look for where this number is referenced on here. And there, max population for growth. Okay. So that can hold 22. That's getting us towards our victory conditions. Right? We have to have 25 in one area for this scenario, if I recall correctly. Ten or more settlements. Now, 10 or more with a max population of 25. So there's a good shot that I can get a max population of 25, and the only problem I have is the habitability at 50%. I'm going to have to get a lot of tech to be able to actually land there. I think that's all I get. I get this marker. And we go to the next one. Now, each ship, I think, is handled separately. We'll take lumen 16 here. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. With a higher habitability, we'll roll these. We'll roll the malfunction in with it. We get a success, but we had a 20. Or a 200, it looks like. This is a physics, so that's going to be this color. So we get this, which is not going to succeed in a survey, but I don't know. It's some. So this is a sum of tech markers earned by a single exploration. Yeah, because you can get more than one counter. That's not going to do. I need at least 2 in a one-player game. Again, I don't know why the one-player game. Like, it's going to be harder to achieve the goals in this in a 2-player game or a 4-player game. And they don't change the victory timeline. But we're just looking at the system. But I got a malfunction. What does a malfunction do with an RE? It destroys the RE, but I get an engineering tech marker. So I get one of these. I end up getting this marker, And since it's not enough to survey, it goes back and I can rebuild that ship. The other one is 789 as well. We succeed. 84 is not a problem. We get another physics chip. Most of them are going to be at least 2s. This one is. That means this drops down to 4. I get a planet there. I don't know if I get an IP or something like that. I think I do. Yeah, I would get an IP, but I don't think... I don't know if we're playing with them. Okay, what do we get here? We get a K. A K is a barren world. That's not going to allow a whole lot of people to live on it. Okay. Let's take a look at these IP. That's only in the campaign. Yeah, okay. So I'm not allowed to get the bonus of like those influence points to be added to me. We get this. We're going to be able to tech up at some point soon. And then over here, we've got 3, 8, 9, 10 on a bio check. I don't have to roll a die because it's 10, it's automatic, but I do have to roll a malfunction, and it's not above automatic. I do have to roll a malfunction check. 68 doesn't get me one. So I get a bio marker here. All I got was a 1. That's not going to give me the 2 that I require. So I get this here. All right, and we go back to the rules. That was our exploration. We're only allowed to do one thing in that entire thing. But now I can develop techs. Now let's take a look at my techs. I have 5. That's not going to get me anything. 3. But I have 10 engineering. Engineering, I could go up to bigger vehicles, or I could reduce the RE malfunction. Of importance for this might be some of these things. So I can buy fleet improvements. Well, that's not going to matter. We're not playing with them in this game. This is going to cost 20 to do. Dropping the RE malfunction rate to 22 only costs me 10. How important is CV4 for me? Let's take a look at what my options are. This one is a nice carrying capacity. This one's got a nice exploration. They both cost decent amounts of money. Well, yeah, I already have this. So it's really a question of whether I want to drop my malfunction rate, which seems pretty minor. Building REs is fairly cheap. I think I'm going to hold for the orbital shipyards so I can build the larger ships at some point. At some point. Next turn I get 10 more bucks, which could let me build this, but that wouldn't give me any capability to drop, to bring colonists, because I'd need like 5 more bucks to bring colonists anywhere. So I may just build this thing. This at 9, also not a great buy. Okay. So I'm not going to develop any tech. We shift to another turn. Do we want to keep going? For the economics, we get 10 bucks. Build and repair ships. What does physics give me? Better range, better movement modifier. That's nice stuff. Searching this out looks useful because this is the closest we've gotten to a world where, you know, to a system where we have something of value. We can't shift this in flight. It has to reach before it is able to shift over. Okay. Build and repair ships. I think next turn I get nothing. But in 2200, I get another 10 bucks. This would cost me 20 to send dudes out. This would cost me 15 to send dudes out. If I buy this for 4, I might find something of interest here. Might. It's unlikely. What I really ought to be working on is bio. I've got a lot of people who are going to be possibly getting me biotech. I think I'm going to hold my money to ship more colonists out. Okay. Cargo transfer and trade, none going on here. Movement. I would be able to fly these ships someplace else. This one I might want to send someplace. Maybe. But I might not. What is my capability? I need 80% right now, which means I wouldn't be able to inhabit that. This is really hard to find, hard to use, but it does get me awfully close to that 25 points. I think I'm going to leave my ships all where they are. Oh, we forgot to reduce transition markers. This one goes down to a 2. All right. And we're going to explore some more. Now, exploration's getting harder in some ways, right? So we take a look up here. This is now 4, 5, 6, 7 instead of the 8 because I lost a point. I don't know how big a deal that is. We get a success. We don't get a hit. This is engineering. We get a 5. That's going to be a successful survey. So this goes down to a 3. I get another planet. Oh, we just missed. This is a D-type planet, but it's under 12, which is of importance because we can draw for another world to try to place it there. We would get an IP if we got one. This goes here. I think we're working up towards a 20 on that. Let's go to the next one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We succeed. 32 is okay. We get a physics chip. It's big enough. We get a planet. It's not a good planet. We're over 10 there. Down here, let's do the RE first. 8, 9, 10. I don't have to roll this. This saves. We get biochits, which we really want. We put that here. But this one also gets to go at 5, 10, 12. which means we're going to get a biochit, and on a 1 or a 2, we get another one. We just miss. I think we have a malfunction. Malfunction rate for CVs sucks. It's 45%. That is just a hit, though. Where are the hits? Here we go. That's a hit on this one, which means his exploration value has gone down, his combat value has gone down, if that's of any importance. But we also get a biochit, because we did succeed. And we got 2 3s. Now these are done in order, I believe. Single exploration, this is 2 different explorations. Yeah, 3, it doesn't actually matter the order. So this goes down by 2 to 5, 4, 3, and I get 2 planets. This is how I read the rules. I don't know if it's intended. This one's a J with a single population. That's a gas giant, because J sounds like giant. And the other one is our desired planet. An Earth-like planet, maximum population 26. This is where we're going to focus to win the game, essentially. Did we get anything special? We get these biochits. And we want to take a look at this. We don't have a base, so we can't repair, but there's a special repair rule, right? We can pay $3 billion to repair a point of damage on that ship. That's just money that we're like faxing them information, you know, or something. I don't know what we're doing. Yeah. The money just doesn't make sense. It needs to be resources on board ships. Okay. So we just succeeded in our exploration actions. Now we develop tech, and what do we have? We have 10 physics. 10 physics could make our RE range unlimited. 2 is good enough. 15 gets us a faster CV. Do we really want to make it out to where CV range is larger? Not particularly. I'm going to hold with the physics. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't have enough bucks to buy any bio. 8, 10, 15 for engineering. I'm still too far from this. I'm not really, since I went in that direction, I'm not really interested. I'm going for the orbital shipyards. So I hold on all my tech. We got our 10 bucks that turn. We go forward to 2190. We're going to pause here because my batteries are running down. I'm going into a lot of detail about what's going on in the game, but I feel like looking at the mechanisms, you know, I'm going to be looking up the rules pretty much throughout play to find the specifics of things. I'm not finding them terribly bad as lookups so far, but we've been kind of just dealing with the core of the game. Back up here, I guess it's Thursday night, and what do we got here? I'm at 2190. This is not going to be a turn where I get money. Trying to refresh myself as to what's going on. One of the things that bothers me in terms of I don't really know what's up is I know there's a rule where I'm going to be able to upgrade a planet just because I've explored it more. Now, this runs out once you finish your exploration. There's only 3 usable planets here, but you can replace planets that you don't like if the population on the planets you like is good enough. And that's something I'm going to have to look up because I know the rule exists, but I'm not intimately, like, I haven't internalized it, as it were. Now, this scenario, you're not going to necessarily want to do what you do in this scenario in other scenarios, because the goals to this scenario are, as I'm, again, trying to, refresh myself, right? The goal to this scenario is to get, 10 settlements in a system with a population of at least 25. So you got to find that population of 25. Well, I found that, so I'm good with that. And now my whole mission should be to start delivering people. Okay, let's jump in and get started. Maybe we fuck up, maybe we don't. Economic phase, we don't get any money. Reduce transfer markers. That's this. Build and repair ships. I have the opportunity to repair this guy. What's his cost again? I know I looked this up earlier. There we go. It would be $3 to repair a point of damage. I don't see any reason to in this game. That damage doesn't really hurt me. I can repair him back at Earth. Now, I may not actually care. Maybe I want to destroy that ship. But I don't know. He's got a 4 exploration. I actually probably do want to destroy him to get money back. But it has to be at Sol for me to get money back. Not just any base. Money's so weird. Like, it makes sense. So it feels to me like you should only be able to spend money at Sol. It honestly feels that way. And that money is only earned by stuff you bring back to Sol. It just doesn't, it feels, this has to do with the communication speeds. It really does. When you're talking about, potentially, this is a distance 1, 7.5 light years for a 10-year term. Whatever that money is, yes, it can transfer over that time, but it's not trivial to do it. And I'm not sure the money is meaningful in a sort of a way, right? I'm not sure electronic money means anything. It's not the fact that I have cash on Sol that I can send them that does them a damn bit of good in terms of what they can actually build there or whatever, or repair there. And that's where the problem is. Now, once things get more established, it's not like I can build and repair stuff of any importance, so I guess that's okay. Anyway, but the real point is, I can't even transfer this money, whatever magical purpose it has, any faster than the speed of light, if this is a realistic game. And that, again, that's one of the things that I want to harp on this one, is I've got this listed as hypothetical, as opposed to science fiction. Because the original Stellar Horizons, like High Frontier, really is positing a not far future type game. I kind of look at the science fiction games, and I don't know, maybe I should move this to science fiction along with High Frontier and etc. But it's like, okay, but then, where do I put Invasion America? Does that become or Fortress America if you're more used to that. Does that become science fiction because it's like got hover tanks and stuff in it? I don't know. You know, with High Frontier, I made the decision to make it hypothetical, near future, whatever, because that stuff, the technology is all researched and understood to some extent, right? It's a leap forward still, and it's space, so it feels like it should be science fiction. But I don't know. I may reorganize what I'm doing with that. Whereas, you know, with this is beginning to feel more like games like Stellar Conquest, where you're kind of feeling like, I'm not buying that we're not looking at technologies that are outside of our reach, with the control, the command and control that's held over, you know, ridiculously large distances that the communications network is being, you know, that any kind of reasonable communications is being like, that's scientifically believable, is being just obviated. So this becomes much more of a science fiction-y type game. Anyway, where the fuck am I? Build and repair ships. I chose not to do that because of that, and because my focus is going to be just delivering people. That's to win the scenario. It's like a squad leader scenario. Focus on your goal, and that's it. Fuck the rest. You know. And that would be the same in an opposed game too, because there's no combat or anything. Everybody would just be dumping their colonies into here. Okay. There's another weird thing about this, which is that the population limit is on a per player basis. It's not like this system can only hold 27 people. It can only hold 27 people per player, which, again, that's hard to understand what's going on with it. Compare that to like, at least that's what I think it is. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm mistaking something there. It's, where do I populate, right? Well, I guess that's cargo transfer. To build and simply drop off, the systems which you get is limited by the habitability and your biology tech. I gotta get, oh no, this is perfect habitability. Yeah, okay, good. You need the inner, The amount of examples built into the rules directly is just fucking annoying. Okay. For campaigns, you can't exceed your max basis. No, that's not it. So, you know what I'm not seeing? I'm not seeing a limit to how much population I can put somewhere. Is that here? Not really. Bases, you can build off bases. Any number of settlements of a single faction in a system constitutes a base. There's no maximum number of settlements for a base. And any number of player can have bases in the same system. World population limits apply for campaign settlement growth. Okay. So I can dump people off. Apparently there's rules I don't know about for which these numbers actually matter. I was going to say, I just don't really understand. Now, this is similar to Stellar Horizons in that people can have bases on the same planets. Kind of like the Antarctica bases, you know, and stuff like that. Yeah, there's combat available and whatnot. It's very different from your now again, I have trouble with I have to look over here to see the GMT Space Empires is the Stellar Conquest of GMT. I haven't played Stellar in a long time. I think I like it better, but it's it's a smaller game that could have been expanded a great deal. But those kind of games, one faction or another really controls a particular system right? And in this, it's more of a, we're all working kind of together and against each other at the same time. We're all able to kind of inject ourselves into each of these systems to some extent or another. It's a very different kind of feel. It's not the same as the 4Xs. But back here, cargo transfer and trade. I don't have anything that I can dump yet. Movement. Okay. This is where I have to decide what the hell I'm doing with my ships. Do I want to find another one here? It doesn't do me any good. So I'm going to move back to Seoul. I have to collect up my points. Oh, wait. What am I able to destroy? You can volley your own ships, not just CVs. Okay. So this is distance 1, of course. Everything's distance 1 in this. But what's my speed? My speed says that'll take a 2. Sorry for all the diversion. I want to get into the discussion of things, though, as I'm experiencing this, thinking about this again, I don't really care about that. So we'll go home with that. We'll be dismantling these for money and working as hard as we can to get... There is some value. Now, wait a minute. There is some value to being out there. Uh-oh. Maybe I don't want to do these things, right? Maybe it's more worthwhile for me to get tech. Yeah, I mean, this is going to get me, what, $2, I guess? This is going to get me $2. Those aren't huge amounts of money. The tech might be worth it to keep exploring. We're at a 4, 5, 6. That's like a 50-50 chance of getting an engineering. I don't have enough engineering. I don't have an easy way to get it back either. If I focus only on this, all I'm going to get is biology. What do I need? What do I need to help myself? I don't need any of this, although I could terraform in this scenario. I don't need any of this. I do want engineering. This is physics. I'm going to go home with this one. Alternatively, I could go here, or go out here or something. What's my range on those? It's like 2, right? Got to look this up too. RE range is 2. This has a heavy engineering bonus. I don't know. So what am I looking for in engineering? I am looking for CV. I'm looking for $20. 8, 13, 14, 15. Let's head here instead, because that's a legitimate distance. Okay, so that's my movement. Now we go, of course, then there's the time limit for things. Then we go to the exploration. We've seen exploration before. I'm going to do it again just because I'm not used to it. That's why we do things, right? So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with replaceable worlds if I so desire. 10 does not get me anything. 50 doesn't hurt me. That one failed. We come over here. Let's do the RE first. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 doesn't get me anything. 31 is safe with an RE, I know. This is a crude. This one's more problematic. It's got a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This time we find something. 95 is safe. So we get a biology chit. We get a 2-point biology chit. 2 points is enough in the solo game, but not in any other game, to reduce this by 1 and get a 3rd planet. Now, okay, all slots have to be full for me to replace a planet. So we get a 3rd planet here. It doesn't make a lot of difference. I don't need to do anything special. I just put that there. I get these biology chits over here. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This might be useful. I don't know. I don't need any of them, though, and that's kind of key. Look back at the sequence of play. Is the sequence of play on this sheet? It is, and a very detailed one. This will be very useful when I get to the campaign. I want this quick one in my head right now because I'm more used to working with it. Oh, what's this tech tracker? Circle current value, what the hell? Oh, if you photocopy this, it'll give you a better view of what you have in your tech. So that's kind of a nice little thing, is to build that little chart up. Now, given that I'm playing solo, I need to be able to look at everybody's tech at all at the same time, but that's a clever idea for a per player. You know, make yourself a little cards that have that. I tell you what would be the best, a laminated version of this on a little card for each player, and you just, you know, circle with a grease pencil or whatever, says the SFB player who's used to those. That was exploration. Now it's text. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do I want ultra long distance probes? Not in this scenario. I think I want that before, and I've moved off my physics, so I'm not going to get that unless something weird happens. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 10 for biology. I'm going to buy that with this. 6, 7. Now remember, I could use money for tech if I so desire. These actually go in a discard pile temporarily. They get flushed back in at the end of the turn, though, so it's probably no big deal to just throw them in, certainly in a solo game. So I bought a tech. I don't know if that gets me anything funky. If I buy a tech nobody else had, I would get an IP for being the first there, but that's only in the campaign. The final one, 13, 14, 15 for engineering tech. Now, I was interested in this to get that extra money, but I've expanded in to get those guys, so I don't know if I want to do that. Let me check the physics again. The advanced fusion rockets, that could be useful. Speed up my trips back and forth. I think I found something quick enough. I'm not going to have any trouble winning this game. I mean, in the long run, it would save me time to buy that. But not yet. At some point, I may be limited and not have any more ships I can build, right? And that's when I maybe speed them up. Okay. Cards, shuffle discarded cards into the decks. I think that's when this actually happens. And we are in the 2200 turn. What do we have? How long do we have? Oh, it's over. We lose. Yeah, you could not possibly win the game. Because I've gotten pretty damn lucky, to be honest. Here, Footfall, I think it goes to 2300. Yeah, I have to make it by 2300. That should not be a problem at all. All I have to get is 10 guys there. I could actually calculate out the game at this point and say, okay, I've won. You know, I can do this. We'll play a little bit more to get familiar. I may not finish the scenario, though, simply because it is a training scenario when it comes down to it. Let's do one more turn before anything weird happens. We're up to 20 bucks. This is an interesting amount, because we can buy one of these for 9 and 2 things, so that becomes worth it. And in fact, well, reduce transfer markers, we arrive. Nothing special about arrival, this one comes down 1. Okay. Build and repair ships. I'm going to spend, I want this one because I want to carry people. I'm going to spend 19 bucks. To get this ship and 2 more dudes. And again, a 2 should be on the other side of the 1 there. And that's there. Cargo transfer and trade, yes. This is when I settle, right? Build or expand bases. I have a base now. Now, things like trade goods and stuff are not in this scenario. It's kind of weird. I think this is, no, because it's got the terraforming and stuff. Terraforming, if you get bad draws, is important in this scenario. Okay. What's next? Let's find movement. Okay. Any movement I want to declare. I've spent my biotech that I want to do. I want to send this home because it's damaged and has a capacity to carry people, which is absolutely, ferrying people is important. I want to look at my CV speed, which is still ×4. This is not a fast ship. Oh, wait. This is a fast ship. It's not carrying anything. So it will only take me 3 turns to get to Seoul. And we align that move. This one, yeah, we just launched this. It's not a fast ship, no biggie. It's going to take 4 turns to get to Alpha Centauri. I'd really like to get those speeds up. Okay. And then we get to play the exploration game. I'm going to jump away, replace my battery, do those. I don't think there's not much excitement that can happen from the exploration at this point in the game. So it's just a matter of generating the tech that I need and possibly swapping planets out if I wish to. Jump back in. So this is an interesting question. So I got myself a Tech 4, that dropped this. And this is the amount of that system that's unexplored so far, right? So you might find new planets, whatever. We'll put this over here. That's going to be very helpful. But as a planet, I drew this. Since this is under 12, I could actually put this in place of it. That would get me a second place I could go. In terms of like trade goods and stuff, it might be advantageous to leave this here. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know which I like the idea of better. Now these get replenished at a different rate than those things, if I recall correctly. Like you pick one of each planet type and put it back in the bag or something along that lines. I don't remember that mechanism particularly. I should look it up again. But I'm going to have to keep this out of the bag for now. Again, if I hadn't gotten this 26 population location, I would definitely upgrade this. But here, I have whatever 5 red means. That is cash production. I have a better cash production off that. How do I get that cash production? I do it through mining. I don't have a mining. The mining rules are, I believe, the mining and research is, again, not in this scenario. It's campaign game stuff unless it's specified in the scenario as being included. I gotta say, I find this method for presenting the roles really horrible. I don't know what I expect. I think I'd prefer something that had a base game, campaign rules separate. But I do kind of understand that you want to keep sequence of play there. I don't know. You know, I mean, when you look at sort of the worst case of the, here's the rules for this, for the first scenario, for the second scenario, etc. You got to look at games like Magic Realm, which has got to be there somewhere. Why is that in the war games? Box type, I guess. Or Starship Troopers as these games that had these really horrible programmed instruction type things where you only read the rules you need for that scenario, you play that scenario, but then they withdraw rules, they add rules, and Magic Realm is among the worst out there. But there was sort of a fan-based rule book that was built for it, which is just this horrible bloat trying to get every single facet of the game absolutely as nailed down as possible. And it's like 160 pages of rules for a game that was like, I don't know, under 40, where it stood before. Now, there are some things where tiny fonts were used for artifacts and stuff like that helped reduce the rule book size for the original Avalon Hill. But I find the fan-based one so fucking useless because it's just so comprehensive in its attempt to cover everything that it blows away any value that you get out of consolidating the rules into a single thing that tells you the whole game, the whole main game. Part of that is, and I think the same is true with this, is the simple fact that this game, nobody's going to play this scenario, right? Nobody's going to play this as an interesting scenario to play. In fact, I'm partway through, nowhere near halfway through, and I can see what it's going to be. And there's nothing of interest left, right? Which is part of my issue. But I think there's still some things I can show. The same is true with almost, the first 5 rule sets that Magic Realm has. Until you get to a certain point, there's just no reason you'd want to play the game at that level, except as a tutorial. And unfortunately, the tutorials, it's kind of like with a computer game showing you the basics. Well, here's how you move. Use the WASD. And then it gives you a little while to do that. Okay, fine. But I don't need 4 pages of rules to tell me that, right? And that's kind of the problem. It's trying to give that kind of, even though it was well before computer games, I think, were doing that kind of stuff. Trying to remember. Yeah, I mean, this is coming out in the early 80s at the latest. And computer games were not very complex at that point. Although you're starting to see, it's not that much longer after that you get things like Sim Earth that were actually really kind of painfully complex. Where the hell am I? I'm lost. I just got the $10. I think I forgot to turn this to 2210. I think that's what's missing here. All right. Right? No, I haven't developed tech yet. Okay. I'm really lost here. Oh, no. I did one. See how easily I lose my train of thought. I did one exploration here, and that's it. And I still have the explorations here to do. Okay. So I am in the midst of a turn. To be fair, I just dropped these guys off. This guy, that's in cargo transport. This guy should have moved. So, yeah, I didn't move him either. That should be a 4. Oh, I don't think your movement gets reduced. And this research thing, that only affects the research capability, I think. It doesn't affect scouting or anything. Otherwise, you would just change the scout number and ignore everything else. So yeah, so I think I'm going to move this guy. Now he's going to get a 4 movement. And we definitely want to send him home because he's got stuff to pick up. This guy I'm going to dismantle. This guy's going to be ferrying troops. So I only have one exploration here. Well, we'll count it up. Although, honestly, I don't know. Do I have any reason I need more biology or need to search anything? I don't think so. I don't think there's anything I want to do. So I'm going to send him home too. And he's got a movement of 2. Yes, I kind of jumped out of my way. So these guys are all heading back to Seoul. All right, now we go back here. We do the exploration. We did 1. That's all we had. And now we can develop techs, and we'll think about it. 10 in physics. We've looked at this before. This is the one I want if I'm going to want anything. So I don't want to spend on that. I don't have cash to afford into that. What about this? 12 and 7 is 19. A buck could get me to 20 in engineering. I mean, I'd rather not spend the buck. Next turn I can do this instead, or maybe I find more engineering next turn if I stay searching engineering places. I've sent him there, so he might as well. And again, the information that I need for research, it's transmitted automatically. It doesn't have to come back with the ship. It doesn't take, I feel like it should be in a little packet working its way back to Earth so that I can build those more expensive ships. Everything in this game, money, knowledge, all this stuff, it takes time to get back. The fact that I sent someone out here to explore and he discovered stuff about this system, that should take 15 years minimum for that information to get back to Earth. It shouldn't just automatically accrue here. Is there a simplification going on? Sure. But it's just going into using the systems that the original Stellar Horizons used that make sense within the solar system to run something at this range doesn't make sense anymore. The tech level here should be higher, perhaps. But what does that mean? And any kind of mechanisms for propagating that feel like they would be really, really cumbersome. And unless they had some sort of unbreakable encryption, I wouldn't be the only one who'd find out about it. Which is really troublesome, right? Like, the advances in cryptography might be fast enough, and in computing capabilities and whatnot, might be fast enough that by the time that this gets out there and is sending information back, even if it's encrypted, that encryption can be broken relatively easily due to advances in computing and whatever. So it's like there's just so much in this one that's hard to believe when you start looking at it. And somebody was asking me, which one do you like better? Well, off the beginning, yeah, I like the original a lot better. It's a believable structure. This one feels like they took the same game and just tried to expand it out into a different worldview. And I wasn't really thinking about the mechanisms that would be out there. I also wasn't thinking about the distances that this game would cover. If you're looking at something like High Frontier with the colonization for that, breaking out of the solar system is such a huge thing, and I haven't played that version where you can actually start colonizing outside of the solar, or having some effect outside the solar system. So I can't really tear it apart, but it's like, it's such a big deal to get, I know that it's a huge deal to get to any one of these 4. Whereas this is trying to feel like somewhere between the High Frontier Stellar Horizons and a more traditional Space 4X type game. And it's just falling flat, right? Because, okay, look, you can do some hand waving and say, oh, but there's like magical, time folds that information can pass through and other things can't. And that's really what you have to do to make this work, to make this at all believable, is that there's some major advance that we're not aware of, But we've seen hints that it might be believable, that information can be passed at faster than light speeds, possibly, using quantum capabilities and whatnot, because entanglement is weird, and something could actually be discovered by 2100 that allows for the kind of communications that are here. That's a lot less interesting than a game that was actually based on the delays in communication and the structure of how that would work. That would have been a really cool game to design. Like, that would have taken just twisting the knobs completely in terms of normal game design. Whereas this is following a very, very much what Stellar Horizons had, which I felt was a really sweet spot for that game. I feel like it's not for this one. It's not the game that should have been designed to cover this. Doesn't mean it's not fun. If you can suspend your disbelief or whatever. All right, where the fuck am I now? Well, I was considering this. At 19, I think I'm going to save the tech buy, because I will not have the money next turn to buy a bigger ship. And so we moved to 2110 or 2210 for real this time. And I'm going to break, because I've babbled so much and gone into so much. We're going to keep playing a little bit longer. I'm certainly not going to go out to 2300, nor probably, and whatever my victory conditions are. There's nothing interesting that's going to happen anymore, right? It is all calculable at this point. The only thing that's not calculable is, hey, maybe I get an extra tech here that saves me $1 billion or whatever, that kind of thing. Since I didn't make it down at the end of this, I figured, I have this thing sitting out here. When does that go back in? And have I been doing these right? I can't find it in the sequence of play. We got the shuffle and discard cards into decks, which might handle it. That's 1.20. That's not about this. I looked in the campaign game. I couldn't find it. I remember it from somewhere. Don't remember where. It could be muddled in here. Maybe I only saw it in the example of play. I don't see anything about worlds going back. Tech. It says if you need to draw a tech marker of that type, draw $1 billion instead. If it's empty, that's not telling me when I reset those. This is also fucking annoying, right? Like, skimming through this, I'm not seeing it in here. But I'm pretty damn sure that things go back. Like, I remember something that's like one of each world type goes back in the bag at some point. Again, I don't remember when that was. Maybe it's in the scenario rolls? No, that's just setup. just not fucking seeing it. These rules are just so fucking awful. They really are. We got examples of play. Could this have been... I didn't read this very well. I skimmed this lightly. I did read this, the scenario guide book, and I'm almost out. But I may have read some of these others as well. At least skimmed them a little bit. I don't remember. Like, I don't know where I'm getting this from, right? I can't remember where... I'm pretty sure these go back in at some point. And I absolutely know that there was a rule about these where you select each planet and put it in. And this is one of each type of the planet and put it in. And when you have a rule book that's this disorganized, it's almost impossible to figure. The problem isn't the rule book itself. It's the fact that the rule book doesn't tell you everything, right? Like, I can't find this rule. Therefore, I'm thinking it's only in some of the scenario discussions that I read this, or only in the playthrough example, or something like that. It is really, really disturbing. I found the one that I know I saw. This is under the Terraforming and Add Worlds. After terraforming, add to the world pool one of each type of world set aside at the start of the game. Presumably some of the scenarios tell you to do that. So I think the world is actually gone. Return the drawn world, okay, otherwise return the drawn world to the pool, or if it has a smaller max population, you can remove it from the game. You can. It's not absolutely clear, like, if I draw one that's not allowed to be placed, whether it gets removed from the game. Makes some sense to get rid of worlds so that the pool doesn't end up full of shit worlds, right? So I'm not sure what goes on with that. Now, as to the tech, that's one I didn't look up here as much, or did I? In order to try to see what happens. You'll draw tech mode. Okay, that just says that. I'm not sure that I should be replacing tech markers. They too may go away. You must have owned all the prerequisites. You can buy techs. If you run low on markers, you usually the type of points needed. So the only way these tech markers come out of your hand is by spending them. So I'm hoping maybe it says here, but it doesn't seem to. It doesn't say where you put those techs that you spent. Right? As you buy text, put a flag marker. It doesn't say where you put what you spent. Maybe it says here. Nope. I think they go back in the pool. And the only time you would be getting those billions of dollars instead of tech would be if people are holding tons and tons of tech markers. In the original Stellar Horizons, I'm pretty damn sure they kept going back in the pool. These, I'm not so sure that they go back anywhere. They may just be gone. And that would make sense. but I'm not sure either way. The game is just not specific enough to handle those questions. Anyway, now I'm actually going to go downstairs. I'm pretty pissed off at this point about this particular issue. This is what comes of overly sparse rules. So I found what I was looking for. There's a section on marker pools in general. Many markers, world tech markers, trade markers, anomalies are placed in pools. So randomly drawn and returned to the pool when discarded. So they go back immediately. And apparently, since this world was not a replacement, now I got to think about this, right? Look up in here. If you draw a world with up to 12, you can replace it. If you replace a no world tile, remove it from the game. I think all other just go right back in, so it wouldn't actually hold off. And wow, this battery did not charge at all. This fits in with something I said in a response to someone, that everything, that the rules actually seem to be okay in terms of things have been hunted down and found, or I wasn't sure about that one, but the presentation is just so bad and so sparse that it feels like you're running into things where you just can't find shit where you want to look for it. Obviously it's not in the rule book itself. It's only over there in the player guide. Okay. So I reduced the turns on those. Don't have money and resources to build ships. Don't have enough cash to repair anything. There's no cargo transit. Is there anyone where I want to move to, or that I want to move? These are the only ships that would be capable of it. I think it's best to keep playing with them, and I'll do the exploration at this point. Rolled a 27 for a malfunction here, one off what I needed. Didn't get any new tech, and that means I'm at the point where I could build tech. Now I'm going to have another 10 bucks next turn, which means, so what were we at? We were at 19. 20 was the tech we wanted to get to build CV4s. Let's take a look at what CV4s are going to cost us, because we're only going to have 10 bucks. Okay, so we wouldn't be able to build this one, because we'd need that billion for what we've got. We could build this one, but it doesn't really help us. It's an exploration ship without any cargo capacity. So I'm better off keeping my cash and maybe buying, well, I think I'm better off just keeping my cash. I don't speed up the ships that are in transit, obviously, so this mechanism makes sense on that. Yeah, so let's slide to another turn, grab 10 billion more, and keep going. Ship reached a destination. That's this guy. I'm going to voluntarily destroy him, and I get half his cost. Now, I think the rounding rule means that I get 3 billion bucks for that. I'm not sure. It's so hard to tell how many I have with this slick material here. And that gives me a little bit more cash. I have this that I could build at 10, but still wouldn't have enough cash to load it up. Do I want to? I don't do the tech yet. I do the explorations, but let me just think about the tech right now. If I want to buy the tech with $1 billion bucks again, well, I might get some cogs. I rolled a 23 on the malfunction, so I'm going to get cogs, just not the way I wanted them to come to me. So this ship is destroyed. And we rustle around in here. But this means we can buy the tech without digging into our cash. That was our exploration and mining and whatnot. And now, what do we have here? We have 12. We spend it all for 21. We lose a cog, but that's not a big deal. We can't do much with it. And we're going to push this forward. So now we can build CV4s. I might have wanted to do this, but I had decided earlier to avoid, that $10 or 10 cog cost. I got 10 in physics, which doesn't do me anything. It's this I want to get to. And unfortunately, that's not easy for me to get to. I may need to spend cash for that. Right now, this ship, I'm going to probably dismantle this ship when it comes in, so that's not a big deal. The others aren't going anywhere. Do I want to get some physics, or do I just, the problem is I got 10 there. I need 5 more. That's going to cost me $5 billion unless I ship my ship off to a place. Shipping my ship off to a place doesn't seem like a terrible idea, to be honest, because I got the cogs that I want through destruction. So I'm going to send this off here. And that's my movement. We don't have any exploration. These guys can't explore, which I guess kind of makes sense. And then I might get enough tokens that I can get a cheaper upgrade for that. And that will end this turn and keep me going. This ship has arrived. Now I could sell the ship, or I could pay to repair it. I think I'm going to sell it because the damage doesn't hurt me there. So I get $4 for this ship. That's not really useful to me. I might have kept it and kept exploring otherwise, and that puts me up to 16 billion. This is interesting. Now, do I want to build a ship with that? See, this guy, for 15, I could build him and send him off to haul another colonist with me. What are we looking at here? This can hold 3 colonists. Where do we get the CV4? The CV4 is there. Oh, I hit that. Let's add these to my pool that I can buy. Okay. So I could build this for about the same and 1 colonist and then start shipping. So if I spend 16 billion, here's the problem. I didn't have enough money for upgrading my speed, right? My speed would cost me 15. If I did that, I wouldn't have the money to send this. Is it wise for me to send this or not? 1 colonist seems like a shitty amount to carry with me. Next turn I get more cash and I can carry 3 colonists. I'm going to hold. Am I going to buy the speed technology though? Okay, so building this ship with 3 colonists would cost me 26, which means I won't. There's 3 in here. Yeah, this is wrong. I got to tear this. Getting improving my ship movement from 4 down to 3 isn't really going to help me all that much compared to sending more colonists over. So I think sending the maximum number of colonists is the better deal. You could probably do some math and might try to convince yourself. Like a little bit of math would secure the analysis on that, but my head just tells me I'm better off sending 3 colonists instead of 2 a little bit faster because I'm going to be able to upgrade the speed. I'm limited to this tiny pool of ships, which can grow, but I'm not really in a position to grow it by much. So one thing we're going to find out is how hard this scenario is. I've gotten very lucky, and yeah. And I keep losing track of where the fuck I am in the gameplay when I start chattering. It's I think I just dismantled a ship or something. I don't know. I don't know what I did. Like, I don't know when I sent the last ship out. I sent this out. Was it last turn? Or was it the turn before? I don't fucking remember. So that's another factor where this isn't going to make much sense because I can't keep track of time because I'm losing track of where I am in this little sequence of play because I'm not like placing this and remembering what I just did. What did I just do? Good question. I think I reduced transit markers. I certainly got the $10. But, you know, I could be making this game harder on myself simply because I'm not paying enough attention. I don't know. Oh, well, will penalize me. Yeah, so if I was actually at the build and repair ships question, which I'm not sure I was, but I think I was, we were going to wait. Okay, good enough. Cargo transfer, there isn't going to be any movement. There's nothing that can move anymore. There's no exploration. Develop tech. This would be the time that I spend, and that's what I was trying to decide. And I think the answer is no, and we just push forward. And this is an odd turn. This is an even turn. Jesus, I can't pay attention to anything. Oh, there we go again. Yeah, I don't like this money. Okay, so I collect my 10 for my money. I reduce the transfer markers, so we arrive all over the place. Maybe a turn too late, maybe more than that, who knows, because I can't keep track of what's going on. And now it's build and repair ships. I got 2 more of these I could build. Ooh, that's an interesting question. Like I was going to build this, but maybe I should have done the tech, because that, I don't know. All right, so this costs me 11 plus 15 is $26 to get me 3 more colonists. I think we're going to hit the 10, which goes here. I'm not going to dismantle that ship. It's too big an expense right now, and I can send more out next turn. Well, not next turn, 2 turns from now. But given the length of time, that makes sense. Okay, that's build and repair ships. Cargo transfer, this is up to a 4. Now, Jesus. The way I stacked these is the problem. I had more nations in a specific place. So now we get a 4 there. We got 6 more to go as we try to put these back. Okay. So we got 4 of our 10 colonists there. We're hauling 3 more. That gets us to 7. You know, this 2 actually doesn't matter. Not unless we build another ship. We have enough time, I think. I don't know. It takes so long. It takes so long to get anybody anywhere. Okay, so we unloaded. Now we get to move. Our movement rate is still a shitty 4 to get this ship back. This ship we don't want to send yet, but maybe getting $4 is worth it. And this one is also going to take 4 turns to get there. Okay, did we fail? I think that's what we can find out right now. We just did movement. We're on exploration. Let me put this here so I know where I am. Did we fail at the game? Because even with all our luck, and good luck getting terraforming to work if we did, right? Given all our luck, we've only gotten 4 colonists here. We haven't tried to optimize our movement flow to the absolute maximum that we possibly could, I guess. It's going to take 4 turns for those 4 to get there. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means I need to ship next turn for something to work. So it was necessary to get the speeds up as well. These scenarios aren't trivial. So I'm going to call this one as a loss. I don't think... Could I have improved on it? I don't know. I could have gotten it so that my ships were moving a little faster, but I think this is a really tight scenario to actually make the requirements. At least solo. If it's not solo, though, you need 3 or 4 tech value to complete a survey. However, I think that's going to show planets more quickly than 1 person. Would that be enough information? It's hard to tell. I think that the initial payout that the game, the initial strategy that was put forward here is not a good one. I don't think it's one that gives you a good chance at being able to ship enough colonists out there. Let me swap batteries and we'll talk a little bit about what failed. Now, of course, I could have ended up fucking up by a turn or something where ships didn't arrive a turn early or whatever. But in terms of what kind of failed, a little bit more physics. And maybe if I had stayed here at Lumen instead of pushing out to Gleiss, was necessary for me to get a slightly faster movement. I only got 10 there. Spending $5 billion, I don't know. Maybe earlier that would have been worth it. But my thoughts are that the best way to win this scenario, the most likely way to win this scenario, is to kind of put all your eggs in one basket. Just go for Alpha Centauri. And re-exploring it, although you don't get the techs that you need, you know? I needed these techs and the engineering techs to get the bigger ships. It's a hard puzzle. And yeah, I'm not going to succeed, right? It's going to take me 4 turns to get that ship in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next turn is not a money turn. It's a 50, which means this is the first turn that I could get more people. And it's going to cost, it would basically take, well, I got 1 more turn. I've got the 2300 turn as well. So let me see. If I'm launching 3 more, that gets me to 7. I would need 3 more to get there. This ship's not going to make it in time, right? No matter what. 1, 2, 3, 4. This ship could make it with its 2. That would get me up to 9. I need 1 more person. That 1 more person, the Discovery could conceivably carry it. That would cost me, though, $15. I don't have 15 bucks. And speeding things up at this point isn't going to help. Would it have been possible to win? I don't know. Certainly if I like fucked up a turn, it would be. What if I get more tech? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would need to draw a big 5. And then I could conceivably speed my ships up, and that might help. All right, we're not quite done yet. We haven't decided that we're completely cooked, because there is a chance I could get physics tech here, a big 5. Anything less than that probably isn't going to work. Is there a reason I haven't been, like this last turn, I could have done a biology check on here and tried to improve things. But I don't think there's anything on biology that would help me. Not really. Look, I moved my damn thing, so I don't know where I am in the thing. I don't know where I am. I think I'm on build and repair ships, but I'm not sure. Cargo transfer. Well, this just got sent out, if that's where I am. And I'm on an even turn, so that makes sense. So I already did movement. There is an exploration, so there is a chance. So 5, 6, 7. We find we're not destroyed. I could actually get money by, or get engineering ships. Those aren't going to help me. 6, 7. We get a physics chip. Is it a 5? It's not. It's a 3. That may be enough. I think it is. I don't know, because I can't memorize this chart. It is enough. That compares this. I've got a no world there, so I get to draw another world. Okay, this is an Earth-like moon. Let's just replace that, because no problem. This goes away. I don't know where to put it so that I don't forget to include it in the game for the next scenario. I get these, and now I'm at 13, 14, 15. I'm going to have 10 bucks next turn. That can go aboard this ship. I think we buy the tech. So that's 15 tech goes in there. And our CV movement modifier is now 3. That'll make it a little easier to get back. This was a slow ship, yeah. All right, well, are we at the end of the turn? I don't know. We just developed tech. We shift this forward. We do not get any cash. We have 1 biotech. And we shift these down. An odd turn, which means I don't have the money to load this ship up yet. So no reason to send him anywhere. We get to do another engineering check. We kind of screwed up. We shouldn't have spent our technology last turn because it didn't help us. And that was 3 bucks because we get to do this again. 3, 4, 5, 6. 0 isn't going to help. 0, 6 is a malfunction. This is destroyed. So we didn't end up paying a price for that decision. And we get one of these. Ooh, well, that's nice. But not going to make a damn bit of difference in this game. That was exploration, develop text and buy cards. Can't do any of that. This shifts up. We get 10 bucks. These move down. You can see how quickly it starts to go when you don't have a lot on the board and you can kind of figure things out. Build and repair ships. I don't have that kind of money, but I have 10 bucks, which lets me buy 2 more of these suckers. My speed multiplier is now 3, So I go to Alpha Centauri with a 3. That'll get me to 9, one short. 3 more turns gets me to there. If this ship arrived a turn faster, I still wouldn't have the money to send it. I'm going to miss by like 1 turn. It's possible that I fucked up, right, and didn't reduce these markers once. So maybe I'm hoping that's the case, because otherwise I think it's almost impossible to win this. At least with this faction's ships, right? Okay, where am I? I think I just did movement. There's no exploration left because this got killed. There's no tech left to buy. We go forward. This is a nothing turn. We got no money. Maybe, okay, I don't know. We got the money coming in next turn anyway. We couldn't have done anything before that. And I can't disband a ship and get cash for it, except at Earth, right? Yeah. Okay. Even though I could use that money to build a ship over here. Okay. That's an interesting thought. It doesn't help. What did I just do? This is not a money turn. I think nothing happens. It shifts. We get 10 billion more. This ship arrives. This ship arrives. This ship does not. Not that it matters. Build and repair ships. My 10 billion. This isn't building. This is cargo transfer, honestly. My 10 billion gets me 2 more on this ship. My transfer here gets us a total of 7 here. And you can see if multiple people are coming out of Earth at the same time, the areas around Earth are going to be horribly crowded. This is one player and it feels like a mess. There were a couple of planets in the original Stellar Horizons that felt messy when too many people were operating there. But, you know, I mean, 7 people could be coming out of Earth. The game does hold 7. Actually, we could go further than that. Let's try to remember where we are. We're on cargo transfer. Let me see what they say. Okay, they say suitable for 1 to 7, yeah. All right. So I've got 7 on that planet there. I could actually turn these in for a 5. That'll help a little bit. A little bit. We just did cargo transfer. It's movement time. We fire this off. It's going to take 3 turns to get there. This is my win conditions heading in. Okay? 3 turns from now, 1, 2, game over, 3. That's what happens. And there's nothing I can do about it, right? This guy, he can fly back. It'll only take 2 turns for him to get back, but he's not going to be able to deliver me more people. So that is the end. I missed by a little bit. If I screwed up on moving some of these counters, that is the game. You know, that's what happened. If not, I'm really not sure you can win by following their strategy in the best of circumstances. Whereas, if... yeah, I sent the only crew here. Yeah, I just don't know. I'm trying to think, like, could I have improved things by buying that faster ship a little earlier? Maybe, but we're talking about like a razor's edge here as to that. Okay, so that's the first scenario. Let me try to figure out what it's called. Footfall among the stars. Well, we'll just call it Footfall. But yeah, that's going to be That's going to be a somewhat disappointing wrap in terms of getting the victory. Nah. Oh shit. Blue and green, hard to tell apart. Okay.